That morning when I walked into the office, I had no idea it would be my last time. The white envelope handed to me was like a bomb about to change my life. Termination notice was written at the top. The reason stated unprofessional behavior. I couldn't believe my eyes. 22 years. I had given 22 years of my life to this company, and this was what I got in return. But my boss firing me was going to backfire on him, big time. Because I knew about his little secrets he'd been hiding. My name is Rachel Foster. I'm 51 years old. I started as an assistant at a major advertising agency in Portland, Oregon, eventually becoming one of the company's most trusted project managers. Silvercrest Media was my second home. That glass door I walked through every morning with my vanilla latte from Starbucks I must have passed through it 1,000 times. That's why I knew every corner of this place by heart. It had become a place where I spent more time than my own home. My desk was by the window where I'd watch Portland's foggy mornings. I raised 2 children with the money I earned from this job. My daughter at Stanford, my son in high school. Everything was part of a perfect order. Until that morning, my boss, Daniel Hartwell, was a 45-year-old, handsome, charismatic man. His MBA diploma gleamed on the office wall. Everyone loved him. I loved him too, of course. As an employee, he had never let me down until now. Of course, I mean this in a professional sense. He was my boss. I was his loyal employee. We had never crossed any lines. Never. But something had changed over the past 6 months. Daniel's behavior was different. He gave me less time to speak in meetings. He responded late to my emails. He avoided my eyes. I had a feeling inside, but I was suppressing it. You're being paranoid, Rachel, I told myself. Everything's fine. But I was sure something had changed compared to before. I said to myself, whatever. If something's going to happen, it'll reveal itself soon enough anyway. I said then the new Human Resources Director arrived, Ashley Monroe. 29 years old, long blonde hair, someone who always tried to appear overly professional. She had been cold to me from day one. Her smile was plastic. Her voice had a fake politeness. Rachel, it's so nice to meet you, she had said. But her eyes said something else. One day, while making coffee in the office kitchen, I overheard them. Ashley and Daniel were in the conference room. The door was half open. I heard their voices. Not what they were saying, just their tones. Intimate, very intimate. Something inside me broke. But still, I told myself, you're imagining things. Because I couldn't imagine the boss I'd known for years this way. He was my employer. Until that Wednesday. I was searching for a file on my computer and accessed Daniel's shared folder. I had permission. These were project files. But I accidentally clicked on another folder. It said personal. I shouldn't have opened it. I know, but curiosity, or maybe that feeling inside me, pushed me, but I was shocked by what I saw. At that moment, I realized I had known my boss wrong all these years. There were photos inside. Daniel and Ashley, at a restaurant, at a hotel, on a beach. They were laughing, hugging, kissing. My hands trembled. My heartbeat echoed in my ears. The computer screen blurred. No, I whispered. No. My boss couldn't be this kind of person, I thought, but yes, there it was. Daniel Hartwell and Ashley Monroe were having an affair. Senior, experienced, all-knowing Rachel Foster. Maybe I knew too much. Maybe I had too much power. Maybe they needed to make room for Ashley's rise. That afternoon, Daniel called me into his office. He sat at his desk, arms crossed. Ashley was beside him, notepad in hand, as if this were just an ordinary meeting. Rachel, Daniel said, no emotion in his voice. As a company, we need to make some changes. Your position is no longer suitable. He looked into my eyes. There was no regret, no respect, unprofessional behavior. I asked, my voice cracking. After 22 years, you're calling me unprofessional? Because I couldn't accept this reason for myself. If I was so unprofessional, why did they employ me at this company for all these years? This was just an excuse to get rid of me. Ashley interjected. Her voice was sweet but poisonous. Rachel, this isn't personal. We feel you haven't been able to adapt to the company's new direction, the way a woman who had just started working was talking to someone who had worked for 22 years was truly something I didn't deserve. When I left the room, my knees were shaking. I grabbed my bag, collected the photos from my desk, and walked out that glass door for the last time. I couldn't hold back my tears because I knew this place better than my own home. Being unjustly fired from a place where you've worked for years is a truly indescribably terrible feeling. But I didn't go home to cry. I sat in my car in the dimness of the parking lot. My hands were trembling on the steering wheel. And at that moment, I made a decision. I was going to expose their forbidden affair. Because whatever happened, happened after that woman started working at the company. That night, I didn't sleep. I just made plans. When I got home that night, the house was silent. The kids weren't there. My daughter was at university. My son was at basketball camp. Just me and my thoughts. The kitchen light was on. The refrigerator was humming. Everything was normal. But me. I was no longer normal. I opened my laptop. My hands were still trembling, but this time from anger. I made coffee, strong coffee. Portland's rain was hitting the windows. There was a storm outside, but a bigger storm was brewing inside me. I still couldn't believe how they could fire me unjustly. But what they did was going to cost them dearly. The first thing I did was copy those photos. I transferred them from Daniel's folder to my USB drive. Then I checked my emails. I looked at the deleted messages folder. I went back 6 months, and I found it there, an email from Daniel. It had been sent to Ashley, but was accidentally CC'd to me, and he had immediately deleted it. But a copy remained in the system. I'm considering Ashley for the new position. Rachel needs to go, but we need to handle this gracefully. Talk to HR. The date, 6 months ago. They had planned this 6 months ago. And I hadn't understood anything, because I only devoted my time to my work and my children. I had never entered into the dirty thoughts that other people had. My breath caught. So everything was planned. The coldness over the past 6 months, the distance, being excluded from meetings. It was all to slowly corner me. And me. I had been clueless about everything. But now I knew. And learning these things was going to be very good for me and very bad for them. A woman sometimes feels everything. She just waits for proof. And I now had the proof. I woke up early the next morning. The rain had stopped. Portland's foggy streets were wet. I went to Starbucks, got my coffee, but this time I didn't go to the office. Instead, I went to a lawyer. Karen Blakely was one of Portland's best employment lawyers. Her office was downtown among the glass skyscrapers. My heart was beating fast as I went up in the elevator. I gave my name at reception. I waited 10 minutes. Then I was called in. Karen was in her mid-50s, in a gray suit with a sharp gaze. Her desk was covered with files. She gestured for me to sit and looked into my eyes. I felt like just by looking into my eyes, she understood I had been wronged. Because what I'd been through was starting to show on my face too much. "Tell me what happened," she said. And I told her. Everything. My 22 years of work, the change in Daniel's behavior, Ashley's arrival, those photos, my termination. Karen took notes. She never interrupted. Just listened, like an expert lawyer would. When I finished, she took off her glasses and leaned forward. "Rachel," she said, her voice calm but determined, "you have a wrongful termination case. But there's more. If this relationship was kept secret within the company and affected your job, we can also file an ethics violation case. Additionally, age discrimination may be involved." This was a ray of hope for me. My head was spinning. So, so what do I need to do? I said. "You need to gather evidence," Karen said. "Everything. Emails, messages, witness statements. Get a copy of the company policies. Save every correspondence from human resources. And most importantly," she paused, looked into my eyes, stay silent. "Don't tell anyone anything yet. The other side must be caught unprepared." So I needed to catch them red-handed. When I left there that day, something inside me had changed. I wasn't crying anymore. I was planning. When I got home, I opened my laptop and started researching. I downloaded Silvercrest Media's employee handbook. I read the relationship policies. It said employees in managerial positions cannot have romantic relationships with their subordinates. This situation creates a conflict of interest and is against company policies. Daniel was the CEO. Ashley was the human resources director. Technically, they weren't at the same level, but Daniel was clearly Ashley's superior. And this was a clear violation. And this was a big advantage for me. I was going to use this to make my boss regret what he did. Then I messaged my former coworkers. I had to be careful. Everyone was loyal to Daniel. But there were a few people, friends, who still trusted me. Jennifer was in the accounting department. I'd known her for 10 years. I invited her for coffee. The next day at noon, we met at a small cafe downtown. Jennifer looked worried. When she sat down at the table, her first words were, "Rachel, I'm so sorry for you. This is so unfair." "I know," I said. My voice was calm. "But Jennifer, I need to ask you something, and I want you to be honest with me." She nodded. "Did you know there was something going on between Daniel and Ashley?" Jennifer paused. She looked at her coffee, then slowly raised her head. "Everyone knows, Rachel. People are talking about it at the office. They stay late, they go out to lunch together. Last month, someone saw them kissing in his car in the parking lot." So they weren't hiding this situation from anyone. But there was one thing they didn't know. Superiors can't be in romantic relationships with their subordinates. My heart burned. So everyone knew. Everyone, but no one had said anything. No one had interfered. And me. Like a fool, I went to work every morning, did my job, and lived completely unaware. I was almost the only one in the company working loyally, unaware of everything. But no one else was fired, just me. "There's something else," Jennifer said, lowering her voice. "Ashley got promoted last week. She's now Associate Vice President of Operations. Her salary doubled. My heart started beating faster." "What?" "Yes, and she was actually in the same position as you. But they promoted her a week after you left." There it was. There was the proof. They fired me because they needed to make room for Ashley, because of her relationship with Daniel. That evening, I emailed my lawyer, Karen. I told her everything. What Jennifer said, Ashley's promotion, the office rumors. Karen immediately responded, "Perfect. Now we need to take one more step. We need to hire a private investigator." "A private investigator?" "Yes," she said when we talked on the phone. "The photos aren't enough. We need to prove they were together during company hours, that they used company resources. If they went to a hotel with a company card, that could be embezzlement. If they ran off together using meetings as an excuse, that's fraud." A week later, I met with private investigator Mark Lawson, former police officer in his 50s, serious-faced man. He sat down with me and said, "Mrs. Foster, what can I do for you?" And I told him everything to dot Mark. Followed Daniel and Ashley for 2 weeks. He sent reports every day. Photos, videos, timestamps. Daniel picking up Ashley in the company SUV. Their lunches together. Their escape to a boutique hotel in the Cascade Mountains outside the city. And most importantly, him paying the hotel bill with his company card. He was charging all his personal expenses to the company. The file was getting thicker. Emails, photos, witness statements, bank records, hotel bills. Everything was there. Karen called me one day. "Rachel," she said with a smile in her voice, "we're ready. It's time to file a lawsuit." But I wasn't ready yet. I needed to do one more thing. I sent an anonymous email to Silvercrest Media's board of directors. It contained everything. Photos, documents, bank records, witness statements. Subject line: regarding your CEO's ethics violations. When I pressed send, my hands were trembling. But this time, not from fear. From excitement. When I opened that file, it wasn't my heart that ran out. It was my patience. The 3 days after sending the email were like hell, but a silent hell. From the outside, my life was normal. I woke up in the mornings, had breakfast, went jogging, went to the market. While shopping at Target, while buying detergent at Costco, no one could know what was going on inside me. But me. I was like a time bomb, waiting for the moment of explosion. Because I was very curious about what would happen. I was wondering if the injustices done to me would really result in a fair outcome. If something like this happened to you, what would you do? Share your thoughts in the comments. My lawyer Karen called me every day. "Be patient, Rachel," she would say. "The board will take action." But these things take time. Companies investigate quietly, then act. But I was impatient. I'd been patient for 22 years. That was enough. But I hoped my impatience wouldn't cause everything to fall apart. So I had to control myself. On the 4th day, I got a notification on my phone. From LinkedIn. Someone had viewed my profile. Michael Thornton. He was the chairman of Silvercrest Media's board of directors. My heart raced. So they had seen the email, and they had started investigating that evening. My former coworker Jennifer called me. Her voice was panicked. "Rachel, something's happening at the office. 2 people came this morning, in suits, with briefcases. They said they were from the board of directors. They went into Daniel's office and closed the door. They were inside for 3 hours. Then they called Ashley in too. Rachel, everyone's whispering. Something's going on." So the email I sent them had mobilized them. I smiled. For the first time in days, I really smiled. "Jennifer," I said in a calm voice, "just keep watching. And whatever happens, let me know." That night, I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned in bed, stared at the ceiling. Portland's streetlights filtered through the curtains. There was a strange feeling inside me. Not fear, not excitement either. A feeling of justice. A feeling I'd forgotten for years. The next morning, my phone was ringing. It was Karen. "Rachel," she said, her voice serious. "A lawyer from Silvercrest called. They want to meet with you." My heart stopped. "What? Why?" "They'll probably offer a settlement. But Rachel, you need to be careful. They might try to silence you. Don't sign anything. Don't promise anything. I'll be there with you." 2 days later, we were in the conference room of a large law firm in downtown Portland. Glass tables, leather chairs, city views. 3 lawyers sat across from us. Their suits were perfect, their faces expressionless. The one in the middle spoke. "Mrs. Foster," he said, artificial politeness in his voice. "Our company has taken your allegations seriously. We've conducted a comprehensive internal investigation." He paused, waited. I waited, too. And he continued, "We found some inconsistencies. The relationship between Mr. Hartwell and Ms. Monroe was contrary to company policies. This situation makes your termination ... problematic." Problematic? They destroyed my 22-year career, and it's just problematic. Karen interjected. "So you're admitting my client was wrongfully terminated?" The lawyer looked uncomfortable. "We're saying the termination didn't follow certain procedures. That's why we'd like to offer a settlement." He handed over a file. I opened it. There were numbers inside. Compensation amount. 6 months' salary. Health insurance. Reference letter. In return, the lawyer said, "We ask you to sign a confidentiality agreement. You won't discuss this matter with anyone. Not with the media, not on social media, nowhere. And you'll drop the lawsuit." They had clearly admitted their guilt. Now they were offering me money to stay silent. Karen looked at me. I looked at her. Then I turned to the lawyer. "No," I said. There was silence. The lawyers looked at each other. "Excuse me?" said the one in the middle. "No," I repeated, my voice stronger now. 6 months' salary. I worked for 22 years. I raised 2 children. I built my career. And you're offering me 6 months' salary and asking me to shut up?" "Mrs. Foster," the lawyer said, his voice hardening, "this is a generous offer. If you go to court, it will take years. It will be expensive. It will be stressful. and there's no guarantee you'll win. But, I said, leaning forward, there's a guarantee you'll lose. Because the company's rules were clear. And the lawyers knew this situation too. The silence at the table thickened. Then Karen spoke. My client demands full compensation, severance pay, emotional damages, and a public apology from the company. Additionally, we request a review of Mr. Hartwell and Ms. Monroe's positions within the company. The lawyers were shocked. This is unacceptable. Then Karen said, standing up, "We'll see you in court." When we left the room, my knees were trembling, but this time from excitement. Karen turned to me and smiled. "You did well, Rachel. Now they're panicking. They'll call back. Trust me." And she was right. 2 days later, a new offer came. This time the number was much higher. 2 years' salary, stock options, full health insurance, retirement fund contribution, and it stated that Daniel Hartwell would resign due to internal company restructuring. So I had really cornered them. Otherwise, they wouldn't have raised their offer so much, but there was still a confidentiality agreement. "No," I said again, "there will be no confidentiality agreement. They must apologize publicly." Karen was surprised. "Rachel, this is very risky. If you refuse the confidentiality agreement, the company might withdraw." "I know," I said. "But this isn't just about money, Karen. This is about justice. That man destroyed me. He stole my career. And then everyone will stay silent. Everyone should know." That night, Jennifer called again. Her voice was excited. "Rachel, something big happened. Daniel resigned. He came to the office this morning, collected his things, and left. Security was with him. He didn't say anything. He just left. Ashley's been put on administrative leave too." Everyone at the office is in shock. I felt warm inside, but it wasn't enough yet. The following week, Silvercrest Media made an official announcement. It was shared on the company website, on LinkedIn, everywhere. Silvercrest Media wishes to announce certain changes in management. CEO Daniel Hartwell has resigned for personal reasons. Human Resources Director Ashley Monroe has been placed on administrative leave. Our company is committed to providing a fair and ethical work environment for all our employees. We acknowledge that we've failed to meet these standards in certain past situations and are taking necessary steps. It wasn't enough, but it was a start. Okay, my plans were going exactly as I wanted. As a woman, I never bowed to injustice. I won't. If you were in this situation, would you stay silent? Or would you try to expose the injustice? Then Karen called. "Rachel, the final offer has arrived. And this time, it's exactly as you wanted." When I went to her office, there was a new file on the desk. I opened it. Everything was in there. 3 years full salary, stock options, retirement fund, health insurance, perfect reference letter. Most importantly, there was no confidentiality agreement. There was only one clause. The company acknowledges and apologizes for the wrongful termination of Mrs. Rachel Foster. "Sign it," Karen said. "You won." My hand was trembling. I picked up the pen. I signed. And at that moment, 22-year journey came to an end. But the real justice came a few weeks later. One morning, when I opened LinkedIn, I saw it. Daniel Hartwell's profile had been updated. It no longer said CEO at Silvercrest Media. It just said seeking new opportunities. The comments were full. People were asking questions. What happened? Why did you leave? No one was answering, but everyone knew. Silently, in whispers. From office to office, from city to city, the news had spread. What he experienced was the price for the injustice he did to me. Ashley Monroe shared a similar fate. 3 months later, she also left the company. To explore new opportunities in my career, she wrote on LinkedIn. But the comments were merciless. People knew, everyone knew, and me. I was finally free. One day I was passing by my old office. The glass door, the familiar logo, everything was the same, but I didn't go in. I just stopped, looked, and smiled. I no longer belonged there. I no longer owed that company anything. If we had looked into each other's eyes at that moment, he would have understood who finally won, and that morning. When the doors of justice opened, nothing was ever the same again. 3 months later, Portland's autumn had arrived. The trees were covered in orange and yellow. The streets were covered with wet leaves. I had started my morning runs again, while running in Waterfront Park, standing by the Willamette River. I felt real peace inside me for the first time in a long time. My phone rang. It was Karen. "Rachel," she said, joy in her voice. "The payment has been deposited into your account. Check it." I opened the banking app, and there it was. 3 years' salary, stock options, compensation, everything. When I saw the amount, my eyes filled with tears. But this time, they weren't tears of pain. They were tears of relief. "Thank you, Karen," I said. My voice cracked. "Really, thank you." "No, Rachel," Karen said in a soft voice. "You thank yourself, because you fought. Most people give up, but you didn't give up." After I hung up the phone, I sat on a bench by the park. The sun was filtering through the clouds. The river was gently rippling. Joggers were passing by me. Children were laughing. Life was going on. And me, for the first time in months, I felt like I was breathing. When I got home that day, my daughter Jessica called. From Stanford, she was excited. "Mom, I saw on LinkedIn. I heard you settled with Silvercrest. Congratulations. I'm so proud of you." I smiled. "How did you hear?" "Mom, everyone's talking about it. Even my employment law professor at campus told it as an example in class. About how to fight wrongful termination. He didn't mention your name, of course, but I understood." "Mom, you're a hero. A hero." "No, I just did the right thing." That evening, my son Tyler called too. He was 16 in high school. His voice was different, more mature. "Mom," he said, "no, I haven't been supportive enough in recent months. But now I understand. I understand what you went through. And I love you for being such a strong woman." My tears flowed. But this time, they were tears of happiness. "Thank you, sweetheart," I said. "You and your sister, you're my everything. And I fought for you, because I wanted to show you that what's right always wins in the end." Weeks passed. Autumn turned to winter. Snow fell on Portland's streets, a rare sight. Christmas was approaching. But this time, for the first time in years, I was truly cheerful. One day, my former coworker Jennifer invited me for coffee. We went to that familiar cafe downtown. When we sat down, Jennifer held my hand. "Rachel," she said, "I need to tell you something. I left Silvercrest." I was surprised. "What? Why?" "Because," she said, her eyes shining, "you gave me courage. I was unhappy there for years. Low pay, disrespect, no opportunities. But I was afraid. Till I saw your story. You taught me something, Rachel. Being silent isn't being strong. Standing up is being strong." I smiled. "So, what will you do now?" "I found a new job," she said proudly. "A small agency, but they value me. My salary is better, people are more respectful, and most importantly, I'm happy." At that moment, I understood. My fight wasn't just for me. It was a message for others too. Don't stay silent. Don't bow to injustice. Fight because you can win. In mid-December, something unexpected happened. I received a message on LinkedIn from Michael Thornton, chairman of Silvercrest Media's board of directors. I opened the message. My heartbeat quickened. "Dear Mrs. Foster, I apologize for taking the time to reach out to you. I know that in the past our company wronged you. As the board of directors, we feel deep shame about this situation. I would like to discuss a matter with you. If you're available, could we arrange a meeting? Respectfully, Michael Thornton." I called Karen. "What does this mean?" "I don't know," Karen said, "but be careful. They might want something else." A week later, I met Michael Thornton at a restaurant in the city center. White-haired, in his 60s, serious but kind-looking man. When he sat at the table, he looked directly into my eyes. "Mrs. Foster," he said, "first I want to apologize to you. Personally. It's the board of directors. We didn't supervise Daniel Hart well enough. We failed to protect the company culture. We lost a valuable employee like you." I listened silently. Now, he continued, "Our company is restructuring. We've appointed a new CEO. We've completely renewed the human resources department. And we'd like to make you an offer." My eyebrows raised. "An offer?" "Yes," Michael said. "We want you to come back. Moreover, as chief project manager, reporting directly to the board of directors. New salary, new position, new office. Of course, the decision is entirely yours." I froze. "Go back to Silvercrest." "I know," Michael said, smiling. "You must be shocked. There's no pressure, just ... I want you to think about it. Because you're the kind of leader this company needs. Honest, strong, principled." When I got home that evening, my mind was confused. I called Karen, I called my children, I called my friends. Everyone said different things. "Go, Mom, you deserve it," Jessica said. "Don't go, Mom, they hurt you," Tyler said. "The decision is yours," Karen said. "But remember, you don't need them anymore. They need you." I thought about it for a week. I couldn't sleep at night. Would that mean going back to the past? Or was it a new beginning? Then one morning, while jogging, I made my decision. I called Michael. "Mr. Thornton," I said, "thank you for your offer. But no, I'm not coming back." "I understand," he said, his voice filled with disappointment. "May I ask why?" "Because," I said, "I'm not the old Rachel anymore. I gave 22 years to that company. Now it's time to give to myself. I want to do something new. I want to start my own agency, with my own rules, my own values." There was silence. Then Michael laughed. "You know, you're right. You're that kind of woman, Mrs. Foster, and I'm sure you'll be successful." When I hung up the phone, there was a strange lightness inside me. Was I scared? Yes, but at the same time, I was excited. 3 months later, I founded my own consulting agency, Foster & Associates, a small office in downtown Portland with a river view. My first client, ironically, was a rival agency of Silvercrest's. And business. Business went well. A year later, I had 6 employees. 2 years later, we became one of Portland's fastest-growing agencies. And 3 years later, one day, I saw news on LinkedIn. Silvercrest Media on the brink of bankruptcy. 40% revenue loss in the last quarter. Jennifer sent a message. "Did you see? The company went under. The new CEO left too. Everyone's being laid off." I wasn't sad. I wasn't happy either. I just ... felt. Justice is sometimes silent, but its echo lasts for years. That evening, I looked at Portland's lights from my home window. The sun was setting, the sky was pink. I felt calm inside, calmer than I'd been in years. I never saw Daniel Hartwell again. But from what I heard, he had moved to another city, working in a small position. Ashley Monroe had a similar fate. Life had distributed justice in the end. As for me, a new life had begun for me. One day, my daughter Jessica graduated from Stanford with honors. Tyler was sitting next to me at the ceremony, now a college freshman. When Jessica went on stage, when she received her diploma, she turned to me and smiled. In that smile was everything. Pride, love, respect. And at that moment, I understood. Real victory wasn't revenge. Real victory was staying standing, being strong, and showing your loved ones that what's right will win in the end today. I'm 54 years old. Foster & Associates is still growing. In my office, on top of the desk, there's a frame. It has a sentence written in it. Silence is not weakness. Sometimes the strongest weapon is patience. From that morning when I spilled my coffee, I've come a long way. I cried, I broke, I fell. But I got up. And I didn't just get up. I walked, I ran, I flew. Now, every morning when I wake up and go to my office, I look at myself in the mirror. And the woman I see? That woman is no longer afraid, no longer silent. Strong now. Real justice isn't revenge. Real justice is being able to walk in peace. And me, ... I now walk in peace. Last week, an old friend asked Rachel, if you could live it again, would you change anything? I thought. Then I answered, no, because those pains made me the woman I am today. And I'm very happy with the woman I am today. That day, I didn't hear justice. I felt it as the sun filtered through the curtains. I felt calmer than ever before. If you've experienced a similar story, if you've also been wronged, I want you to know you're not alone. And never, never give up. Because justice always wins. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but in the end, it wins. And you will win too. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe so the voice of justice can be heard more. Because every woman's story deserves to be heard. Real strength isn't in silence, ... It's in standing up.